Welcome to another art session. I'll be working on finishing up some drawings and starting some new ones tonight, and maybe I'll have some time for the comic again because I did a little bit on Friday and that was really fun. So that's some water. Anyway, playing some music. It'll do. It'll do for now. So I'm making some more progress on the VTuber model. It's a slow process, and I'm probably not going to make it in time for the trial, but that's okay. I kind of knew I wouldn't. Like I could really have pushed myself and not slept very well, but I'm like, I'll just be garbage the next day if I do that anyway, so why put myself through that, and why make everyone else have to watch me when I'm in that mode? It's more fun to just slowly learn it. That way that the next time I do it, I can be faster. It's like painting in any principle in general. When you do it the first time, you're not going to be fast, but you get better, and then the next time you do it, you're going to understand it more, and you're not going to take as long. Even with this, there's been a few things I've had to redo or just replicate because elements were missing, and it was much faster the second time I had to go through everything. So clearly I'm learning some of it. Hey. 1 second. One second. Do. So how's everyone's Wednesday going? It was pretty good. I can spell. There we go. Okie dokie. Hello, and thank you for dropping by. I'm going to be working on finishing up some of these dragon drawings and starting some new ones. I got a few I've been sketching at my free time that I plan to head on, but start them tonight. But I just thought it'd be fun to finish up these ones I have here first. I was just saying how I'm making some good progress on the VTuber model, which is like my guy in the corner here, but he moves differently. It's hard to describe. But essentially, it's kind of like a more movable version of this, where he kind of moves more like an actual animated cartoon character on the screen. So very excited for that. It's been a lot of I mean, it's an entirely different software than what I'm using here. So it's a lot of studying, a lot of like looking up online tutorials and other people's videos on how they do it, and a lot of people who are very much like with this. Once you know the tools, you know you can work around them in certain ways, which is great. But when you're new to them, a lot of those workarounds aren't useful because you're like still trying to grasp the basics. So some of the tutorials have been kind of confusing. But you know, it's a process. Probably not going to make it in time for the trial to be over with, but I'll probably just pay for 1 month. It's not a big deal. It's not too much. Or it's like $18 for like a month, which isn't too bad. As long as that's it, because I don't want to pay more than that. But that by itself isn't too bad. So. Do. That's pretty cool. I like that. This is kind of like more like a blending brush, but it's got a nice long kind of smear to it, which I really like. Hello, and thanks for dropping by. Now, when I get closer to finishing the VTuber model, I'll post I'll show how it works, because like I don't want to give away. I mean, it's not a big deal because it's only my first version, and most people have like a big deal when they debut, which is when they release it. So I'm kind of trying to keep it quiet until it's closer to being done. Even though I'm not a huge streamer, so it's not a huge deal, but still, I want to kind of make it special. So. I am pretty excited though. It's been in the works, and I'm excited to show off the progress I've made. So I've got the mouth is mostly rigged, which means it moves on its own. It's not mapped to my mouth yet because that's a different program completely, but I can essentially it just means that like all the shapes I need right now for at least for the first version are all set. So I just need to finish the eyes and then get the head turn to work. Hello. And then I'll have after I have all that, then I can take it into another program where I can actually have it work, and I'll actually get to like use it to talk on here. So that'll be exciting. And there's other things I can add on to it later on. Like a lot of people are telling me to use this thing called VBridger, which is like a thing that adds to it, I guess. But I'm not in a hurry. It's just a thing that I can do later if I want to. But I don't see a point in rushing into that until I have at least the working model, and then I'll go back and do things like that. Because I'd like to just like, yeah, I mean, it's the first version. I remember some of the biggest VTubers I know now that when I watched them when they had less, they still had a lot of viewers, but they weren't as big. Their models were pretty basic, like their first few times around. So, you if they can do it, then if someone who's like me, I see no reason to like lose sleep and go all out on the first model. I'd rather have fun with the first model and then like use later models to do things like that are a little more difficult. Like adding more expressions and stuff like that, you know, things that are just like icing on the cake kind of thing, where it's just bonus features for later, not things that need to be worried about right away. Oops. That's good for something, but not this. Looking for some cool textures for the background. That's different. That's not what I want. Let's see. Maybe it could be like a... Let's make a... I don't like that color. Maybe more of like a very light green might be kind of cool. Something like this for the Keef. Just for something different. Excuse me. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Nice. Cool. Oops, no, we don't need that. Let's make a different multiply layer for this. Where did his tail go? I forget. Oh, no, that's his. Yeah, that's his tail. Like, wait, which one's tail is that? And it's like, oh yeah, it's this guy's. I forgot. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, next I have started another challenge, and maybe I'll try and do some of that tonight too, actually, because there's a streamer that has her own challenge, and I thought I would join it, so I signed on for it. And it's called the March of Fairies, which is all this month. They're doing different like fey creatures, or just settings with fairy folk, which sounds pretty cool. I can put more of my kind of stuff in there. Yeah, this is a dragon inspired by the magpie. Figured it'd be kind of cool to like just make, since the whole bit about this is it's all about like hoarding. I thought it'd be kind of fun to just have base it around a bird that's known for that. Fun to mix some colors, like put some oranges and some yellows in here for the gold, some brown too, kind of like. See? Me, 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 me. Ba, 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 ba. Okie doke. Let's see. Oops. Thinking of, I need to look up some reference because I was thinking about putting them in like a limestone cave. Would be kind of cool, or something like that, maybe just to change it up. But for now, I'll make it a basic one, and I can always clean it up later. Pretty sure they're kind of like from Hello, thanks for stopping by. Just finishing up some old drawings so I can start some new ones. And maybe I'll even, like I was saying a second ago, I might even start another art challenge because whoops, that's what this brush is? I didn't even know I was using that brush. Weird. Maybe it emanates a little bit. Whoops. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did start a new one, I forgot. One second, let's see if I can find it. Not that one. Not that. Not that. Not that. Well, I was working on this actually. This is, if I have time, I'll try and clean this one up more and do some coloring on it. But I guess it closed it. I'll open it up. No, that's the. Wait. Oh, where did I save it? One second. Nope. Guess we didn't save it there. One second. Oh, here it is. Yeah. I was working on another dragon. It's this is a flower dragon. It'll be I wanted to work on the set, like the scenery first, and then I was gonna work on the dragon afterwards. So that's why this thing's not very, doesn't have much color yet. Yeah, it's kind of like based around a jaguar, or like a, yeah, where it's this creature that just stalks and hides in the tree the trees and waits for it. It's like an ambush predator. Like most of it, it'll have these flowers on it, but it's gonna be mainly based around matching in with its environment, which is just like these the flowers in the green like the greenery around it. So yeah, it's gonna be well hidden. Maybe that's like part of the no. I hate spacing. That's kind of cool. Maybe something like that on the forehead. Yeah. Yeah, that's like a kind of like a camouflage with like different types of flowers all over its, and like a pattern all over its skin. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. Kind of thinking of those like praying mantis that color them, that are the same colors inside the flowers that they're in, or those those spiders actually, those pink spiders. But I just thought of like, well, making it much bigger, so it would have to be kind of a mix of like looking like the trees it's around and the flowers it's around. Nope, not yet. No, not yet. That's an interesting idea. Try something like that. it's kind of a cool pattern. Oops. Yeah, it doesn't look right. Let's see. It's kind of cool. Does that make it more? In the darkness, it wouldn't be that bright. So dull this down and lower the opacity a bunch, more like that. Yeah. Maybe it's add a few warm colors in there too. The end of its tail could be just like a lure. Yeah, yeah, it's like based on actual animal, like certain camouflage behaviors of real animals. Yeah, I get it. So I picked up I picked up Repo in case you guys decide to get it because it's $10, so like that's not that bad. And it looks really fun. From what I've been watching a lot of people playing it, and it looks really fun. Like it's like a simpler, even simpler version of like some of those other games. Yeah, I like the little models are funny. Really clever because it's like it's hard to even when you lose, it's kind of hard to be mad just because of how goofy the game is. Like like even if you lose progress, you're just like, "Oh well, at least I at least he went out with a funny bang." Yeah. Because that's the other thing that gets me out of those kind of games is people that just like get really overly invested and then just start like being too aggressive and just kind of like take the fun out of it. So they're just like, oh, my stats. And it's like, dude, who cares? And you'd be surprised. Like, I once sat down and played a game that was just like, literally, it was just a website game. And I was taking the place of my friend one time playing one of those games. It's kind of like that game Tanks where you just like have a little tank guy and he shoots up and you have to use math to figure out where the other person is. Someone made a game off that was only online, and I got screamed at for playing it wrong for my team. And I'm like, guys, this doesn't matter. This is a nothing game. It's just you guys should just be having fun. This is just dumb. This is what you play when you're waiting for your like microwave dinner to be ready. It's not a real game. Kind of like this person. It's kind of like a cool effect to it. But there's so many of those kind of games out there where it's just like, guys, it doesn't matter. It's like, just have fun, okay? It's like, it's like, and if you can't, then I'm gonna leave you in the middle of the game. I was surprised actually how many people in Dark Souls were actually like really nice people. I mean, not super surprised because all you're doing is just being like, hey, can you just pop in for this one boss fight? I need some help. And whoever says yes is going to want to do it. It's not like you're pulling someone away from something else. That they really enjoy the game and they want to help people out. So I just felt bad when I just like totally just goofed up and like the other guy is playing it right and I just like flinch and like the boss just wrecks me and I'm like, oh, sorry, buddy. I mean, they kind of almost, I bet on their side they're just kind of laughing because it's like, that's all you, it's like, oh well, we'll try again. It's like, because they know the score with that game. It's like no one's perfect. You can be a seasoned person and still make dumb mistakes in that game. I might actually try Elden Ring on here eventually, but I'm still trying to. Maybe later this. Well, we'll see. I'll try and plan something out. Because that would be a pretty good one to try out on the. Because I've seen a lot of people trying to play that game on their. But I probably would. Well, I don't know. I could do it on either one. I probably would do it on Twitch though, because that would probably be a bigger deal on there than on here. I would probably post the VOD on here afterwards, which I'm going to start. I will start doing that again. I've been kind of. I stopped doing that for a little bit, but I kind of do want to get back into that. So, because some people I've been asked to do that again, and yeah, I don't see why not. Wait, what's that? That's kind of cool. Whoa. Sometimes I get these brushes from Photoshop, and if you see me make something that's way too big, chances are it was a Photoshop brush that I haven't resized yet. Like some of these are just like watercolor brushes, and they just look really cool when I just like the effects they do sometimes, so I try them out. Yeah, that's always what that is. It's just me being like, this brush looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll try it out. Oops, nope, didn't work. But they can't all be winners. Boop, 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 boop. Usually I try and get done these. I think that's kind of why I rush to get the background done, because that way I can play around with all these different textures and try and layer them on top of each other, and I don't have to worry about painting over the backgrounds, like the shape of the background. So it's almost like I planned it out. Almost. thinking these actually have like maybe these actually have fruit that are yeah. Maybe that's what the thing is. It's like it's got a this tree has this fruit on it that grows that kind of like apples, but like these like pink apples. Whoops. Or purple. Maybe purple. Maybe they start pink and they turn purple as they ripen. And this thing kind of lures them in by looking like it's like it matches with this environment. Sometimes maybe it even like knocks a few on the ground just so that they kind of like get lured closer to it. Can always tell when some other people have the same kind of cooking equipment I have, where it's like someone's trying to make some hard-boiled eggs. I can tell. I hear beep beep beep. It's like, yep, that's what mine does too. It sounds like a fire alarm almost. It's like it really tries to scare you. Better get these done. It's like, get over quick. It's like, chill, man. It's just eggs. They're gonna be eggs in 2 minutes. They'll still be eggs. Don't need to scream. Like I'm only across the room. Speaking of which, I think I'm gonna have some eggs. I'll have some tomorrow. Yeah, I'm good for today. do, 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 do. A dragon has to have wings, but I think I decided I was going to give this one small wings. Just so it can, like, catch its prey if it has to. Like, it can get... It can leap really high and then glide down to, like, catch faster prey. Yeah, true. But, Yeah, it just depends. These are more glider wings, so. But I agree. I don't always need them. I think it's just the Dark Souls in me that whenever I see a dragon that has like wings that aren't shown the right way, I'm like, that's a drake. That's not a dragon. Or that's a what's that other thing? Uh, wyvern. Yeah. There's like wyverns. There's drakes. There's wyverns are like the ocelots of dragons. But then again, Dark Souls has a whole lore reason for what dragons are, so I shouldn't take it too seriously. It has its own reasons for like what dragons really are based on like the history of the world. So it doesn't really apply to anything but itself, really. Where it's like dragons are this way because they're like deities. They're the things that deities fought, essentially. And you have to decide if you want to be a stooge for the gods and fight for them, or just restart humanity, restart the world in darkness, or whatever that means. I'll be right back. I need to get more water. I might have to do one of those challenges in the future, there was a time when I was gonna do I think I even did that on one of my old streams on Instagram, and I might have to make another one where it was like kind of like Drawfee did, but I did my own, where it's like Dark Souls versions of Disney princesses and stuff like that. It's pretty fun. Like I had this cool one that was like it looked like it was like Gaston, but it was Belle dressed like Gaston, and she was like Lady Maria, kind of from Bloodborne. Like she had like one leg over the side of the chair, and she's just like got beasts all, like different beasts on the wall behind her, and she's like a dark version. Like, what if Belle was worse than the Beast? or I had like a Little Mermaids version where it's like that was much darker looking. Like she was like borderline the Sea Witch herself. Like, and it's so interesting that Disney chose to do that because that isn't in the original story. But it really made that movie stand out so much, having the Sea Witch be more of a like con artist. Because in the real story, she didn't lie at all. She did. I mean, there were like rules to the enchantment, but it wasn't like she cheated and went on land herself and tried to like make the deal impossible. She basically just said, "You have till now," and when it didn't work out, the sisters tried to save her, and they found a way where like she took out the prince, her curse would be over, but she couldn't do it. So she actually turned into sea foam for a while, and then she turned into afterwards, because she was good, she turned into an air spirit, which was their version of having a soul, I believe. If I remember the story right, because Seafoam apparently was like the dark ending, where if she was stuck as that, she'd be stuck soulless and just in like a purgatory state, kind of. You know how all old stories end horribly. But that's not even a Grimm's fairy tale, actually, which is what always kind of used to drive me crazy when people be like, everything's a Grimm's fairy tale. I'm like, well, first of all, Grimm was retelling fairy tales. They weren't his. He loved the history of his country, so he wanted to preserve it by writing it down. So in that way, I guess it's his country's. But and good on him. On them, I mean, yeah, because if they hadn't, it might have disappeared. But kind of makes you wonder, like, what kind of stories are out there that just vanished, not even because of like anything malicious, just time. Just like a language changed and no one updated, and it just like poof, gone. Because I'm sure that must happen. I did notice they have this new one that they keep at. I think they're trying to like this one African storyline, which is about a I think it's actually based on this priestess that was story that I talked about in here once, about like the original hippo, but I could be wrong. It could just be like a similar kind of story, because she was the daughter of a shaman, but I don't think that's what this character is. They keep. I don't care for the title. I mean, it's a kid show, so whatever. I don't care. But it's because they keep calling her just like the chosen one, and I'm like, that's kind of lazy. But whatever. It's like, if it's a kid, if it's mainly marketed at kids, I don't really care. But having just stories from different places is always interesting. I have this one podcast I listen to that's all about like stories from all over the world. Like I've been listening to the Sun Wukong storyline, you know, with the with yeah, with the monkey. And like what is it, the monkey, the demon? It's like a it's basically it's like what Dragon Ball was essentially based around a lot, because like he's the same thing where it's like this. And but the interesting thing is that it's like he's a monster. I never really knew that until I listened to the actual story, and I'm like, wait, this character actually like ate people? Like that's scary. Like the whole story's about like his redemption arc. And on how he keeps trying, but things just keep going wrong, and the priest that's he's guiding around isn't too smart himself. So it doesn't help that this guy's just like constantly putting them in danger, or like naively trusting people who are clearly demons. It's like an episode of Demon Slayer. It's like, dude, the lady's got snakes for hair. Why are you trusting her? It's like, no, that's just long hair that slithers sometimes. I don't know what you're talking about. She's nice. Don't be mean to her. You're making her sad. It's like, dude, I don't care. She's evil. She's going to eat you. It is interesting, though, that there's some stories in there where it's like, there are no good guys. where it's like, well, we saved the priest, but everything around him is just destroyed. And, like, we had to do some really dark things to save the prince. I mean, or the priest. So, I mean, in the end, it was actually, like, we probably shouldn't have just not gone this way, because we endangered a village, and, like, people got hurt or worse, and it's like, guys, you're the worst. You're all terrible. And I mean, if you want to talk about nasty characters from Fables, Renard the fox. There's a reason they made him into a villain in the Magicians TV show. He's awful. That's pretty cool. Kind of like that. But I also heard like things like how certain stories, like as they go along, different authors like make their own versions of them. Like Little Red Riding Hood started off as several different stories. Like one was called like Red Cap, and like then it went to something else, and then it depended on like the era that they were written and like what the author wanted to get across. Because in a few of them, she's actually really smart and actually does outwit the wolf herself. And in other ones, it's like just a clear cautionary tale to just don't trust men in the woods. It's like, well, probably a good idea. If he's in the middle of nowhere and he's just like bothered being weird, then yeah, probably don't go near him. There's also some pretty cool stories from like the Arthurian legends that I didn't even know about. Like Lancelot's stories get really interesting, and I'm so surprised that more of him hasn't been made into movies because like people only know about like the more basic parts of his story, but like it gets crazy. It turns like Dark Souls later on. Like he's like fighting like hundreds of like undead knights, and there's the women in there's like more than they talk about the woman in the lake, but there were actual like priestesses too that actually followed him around and helped him in one storyline, and that was the one where he was like fighting like he goes to a town and then like he finds this like coliseum and like he goes up there and has to like fight like all these guys and like it's like this epic boss fight kind of. It was it was really fun. And even Arthur was a much more interesting. I mean, he's most like in the Once and Future King. He's they that's a good story with Arthur. But in this, like he's kind of a more like it depends on who's writing him because sometimes he's like sometimes he's just 100% pure good, and other times he's flawed but good, and it just depends on who's handling the story. Sometimes he seems more like just like a regular like king, which I mean for some stories works out good. So yeah, and I'm not thinking I dislike the ones where he's like a pure hero, because there are stories where that you need that. But sometimes it's also interesting hearing him be like just sound like a king who's just like very like skeptical at times of like people offering adventures or like promising glory to him. He's like, yeah, no, I don't believe you, or I'm good, I'm already a king, so I don't know what you can offer me that I don't already have. And like Guinevere is written differently in some of those stories too, where she's not quite as evil or not or yeah, or just well also it helps that the narrator like he changes the dialogue at times to be more modern in a fun way where he'll like add in like humor and stuff and like just modern references at times to just make it more fun. So I really like that. These are almost like plums. Yeah, I like when they add a little more spice to it. Like if I had more time, I would love to try and do that with my channel. Like just make like short stories and or retell stories and like add in some flair. But at this time, it's kind of like that's a lot. But it'll be fun to try eventually. It's probably ripening that way. Oh, I believe I brought this up last week, but I saw the trailer for Lilo and Stitch, and while I'm not going to see it myself, I don't think it looks bad. I just don't think I'm going to see it. It's like it's fine. It's just another live action movie, but It could be worse. It could be it could be like some of these other, like it could be like Snow White. Wait, too soon. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that Snow White was handled very poorly. Like, I kind of wonder why, like the with Disney's resources, I can't believe they didn't just like pull up in a van and just like put duct tape, put like a label over her mouth that says "Do not open until after debut of movie," and then drove away, because that actress just like demolished that movie. Like any goodwill it might have had was just gone the minute she opened her mouth. So. So, thanks in a way, I guess. Saved me time. Didn't have to go. Didn't even have to look at the trailer. Just heard her interview, and I'm like, nope, never mind. Like, I'm good. Nope. That's interesting, but that's not gonna help here. But whoops, no, that doesn't work. That's the webs. Whoops. Oh, thank good. Good. Now I was just saying how like that Disney handled that marketing for Snow White, and how they should have just stopped them from talking, because it did not end well for that. Because even though I don't want to see this Lilo and Stitch movie, at least like the actors they have doing it look like they are. I mean, they're smaller actors, and or maybe not. The one I don't recognize them, but they look like they fit the roles. Like they got some people that actually look like they're from Hawaii. The only one that I'm slightly disappointed on, and it's not even in a bad way. It's just like the guy they have playing Cobra Bubbles. It feels like they could have found a taller guy, but I don't. It's a small If that's the biggest problem I have, that's not bad in my book. It's like you could have found something taller, but otherwise, this guy's fine. I'm sure. I think I recognize him too. So I think he's one of the bigger actors in it, actually. And since they're giving him a smaller role, that's actually kind of nice of them to just save the bigger actor for like a less important role. Because the girl they have playing Lilo, looks pretty as close as you can. I mean, they're Chris Sanders characters. If you've seen his art, he's got a very particular style for his art. But the cool thing is, I believe he's still doing the voice of Stitch, which is cool. So they got the original artist involved. So good on them for that. I mean, they didn't have to, but they did. So I think that's cool. I'd recommend looking out. Look up Chris Sanders' art though. He's really talented. It's one of I really like that style. It's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. It's you can find it on Stewart NG Books. Stewart NG, if you're listening to this, please, I would gladly be. Could you please sponsor me? No, I kid. No, I don't. They are pretty cool. It's like a place where you can get all types of books from like imports to like limited edition books that were signed by the artist or the author. I think it's mainly the artist though. I don't think they have authors are pretty rare, so it's probably more artist. But yeah, I keep meaning to look up this. I always almost buy this either Chris Sanders or there's what was the other guy? Sean Cheeks Galloway has some art books on there that I keep almost picking up his stuff because he like the way he draws like Spider-Man and stuff is really cool. So he drew the if you ever saw the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, that's his style. Like it's got this very like hard at like like smooth shapes but like really cool like dynamic kind of poses you can do with them, and yeah, you'll know it if you see it. It's one of those kind of. I think I put too many trees in here actually. That's okay. You know what? I have an idea though. I was gonna put some closer in so that there was more trees in the foreground a little bit. So it's not just like one random tree in the middle of it's like, there's a weird tree and it's the only one nearby and it's got a weird thing in it. Don't think I'm gonna go near that, but if there's a bunch, then it's like, less likely to care. Yeah, another artist I would love to get a autograph book from is Alex Ross, because like his stuff is like even having one of his books is like having a just like a book of paintings. It's really cool. Like Kingdom Come is such a good story. And he wrote it about his father actually. Who's a he's a priest at a in I can't remember, was he in New York, I think? I forget. But yeah, anyway, he wrote this story that basically made like his father like the hero pretty much, where like Superman's having like a crisis and like Martian Manhunter is like, I think it's Martian Manhunter, or was it someone else, was flying this guy around, basically like showing him like how everything's falling apart and how Superman's on the brink of like just losing it because everyone hates what he is in the future, in this time period. Like everyone's rooting for like anti-heroes in this world, and everything's falling apart. And they need the old Superman back, who's like kind. So the priest has to like talk to him and talk him down from a really bad day. Where he almost stops being Superman and starts being violent. It's really good. And the artwork looks like paintings. It's because Alex Ross like gets models for his for the poses, and like yeah, he kind of like gets people to pose for his for the panels. It's really cool. That's too dark. I kind of want this to have some shadow, but I don't want to have too much shadow. These kind of do glow. Yeah, no, I definitely. He's one of the ones I was going to recommend to Blue. Actually, was anything by him, or, well, maybe. Why not? Because like, there's so few Superman storylines I think are worth even checking out, and you could probably find that at a library. Like, it's a pretty common store. Like, I mean, I know you can find it at the one near me, but that's because I think I. Oh no, I didn't do that one. I was gonna be like, I think I donated that book, but I think I still have my Kingdom Come book because that's one of my favorites. But most of like every time like she was saying, like every time I move, I would pretty much drop off like a lot of my books at the library because that's like because it's just such a pain to move with all of them. So I 100% get why she's waiting, because that's smart. So I wouldn't want to be like, oh cool, I got like 12 new books and they all weigh like 10 pounds and now I have to move. It's like, ah. There's this one that I picked up. I'll have to look up the name of it again, but it's kind of, I think it's called like 51 out of 100 or something like that. It was a Tumblr comic that was turned into an actual comic, and it's like this person who has to like work essentially for like points to get like, I think they're trapped in limbo, and they have to earn points to get to heaven or something like that. I forget I think that's what it was. It's an interesting story. Unfortunately, I don't know if it ever finished, because at least the comic itself didn't. There might be more on the Tumblr page, but I never actually found it. So actually, you know what would be smarter than this is to use yellow, because yellow will make these stand out more. Yeah, see? Like yellow stands out more than... Yeah, the yellow pops out more. Nice. I like that. It really pushes those leaves into the foreground, so they don't look like they're in. So they stand out over these ones. They're still part of the same tree, but they're further back. So make them smaller, but the same kind of shading. Nice. I like that. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Nope. False alarm. Nope, that's... nope. I think Giant Days is one I would definitely recommend for anyone who's like or Lumberjanes. Those are two good books for like that are not for like huge superhero fans, but just people who want like a story that's just like pretty low key and more about just like characters in a setting kind of. I didn't, like I said, Giant Days wasn't for me, but that doesn't mean it won't be for you. Like, because it's girls in college, and I was like, oh, this is a good story, but I don't like the main character, so it's not for me. But someone might like that, so I don't know. I don't want to say that it's not bad writing. It's just I don't like the character. Kind of a jerk to me, but maybe someone else will be like, no, not really. Her situation is this, this, and this, which I understand. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, good. Someone else likes it. That's fine by me. Kind of like how some people like Yennefer in The Witcher, but I don't care for her. I thought that she was really good before she changed. When she was, which is a weird thing to say, I know, in a way, but it just seemed like she was doing. It was more about like. Her character was just seemed more interesting before she became like this like beautiful, quote unquote beautiful character. When she was flawed, she had actual like her character felt like she had to use more of her brain. And the minute she got looks, she's just like, well, so long, brain. Glad I don't need you anymore. She tricked that one guy when she was looked the way she did, and it was like, I'm like, wow, that's such a cool scene. And then they're like, well, that's the last time you'll see her do anything like that, because then she gets crazy powerful, and then she hates being powerful. And I'm just like, well, boo hoo. Some of us want that power. Gimme, gimme, gimme. It's like you can always adopt. I mean, she technically, that's what the story is pretty much like. If she just like looked at the situation with Geralt and been like, oh, okay, I'll help him raise Ciri, that would have been the end of her problems right there. But no. One that I never checked out, but I heard some people say was good, was the Buffy season 7. Some people say it's pretty cool. Like they went further with the story and like were able to like, because it's like after the town gets destroyed. Spoilers, I guess, for a show from the 90s. Sorry. Yeah, it's they obviously kind of like with Angel, where they once it was a comic, they didn't have the limits of a budget anymore, so they could have like demons the size of like, I mean, like 8 stories tall that Angel has to take on in a story or something like that, and pretty cool. And it's still written by the same people, so it's still quippy and stuff. So if that's what you like, then yeah, it's still there. I'm trying to think what else is really good. One trade that I tried out but wasn't for me, but some people might like, is the Squirrel Girl stories. They're kind. I think I would recommend like grab a few. That's what I did because they're pretty funny. But my problem was they're too much like Deadpool. Like you, they're really fun until you realize that like there are no stakes. Like she's perfectly safe at all times because everything is squirrels. Like there's a part where she she faces off against Galactus, and she just, since I guess there's a thing in him. I didn't even know this was a thing, but like he's the representation of your ideal of Doom. So all she had to do was imagine Doom as a giant squirrel, and then she told him to stop, and he stopped. And I'm like, that's cheating. It's like you reverse Gozard the Gazarian him. I think those are a little too bright. I think actually I should actually haze them up a little because they're a little too easily seen. So they would kind of stand out. There. This is looking really good. I'm really excited. Pretty much. I'm going to save this and we can move back to something else while I... What should we work on? Nope. That's my... Let's clean this one up a little bit more. This one's pretty close too, actually, to being done. That's fur. Not quite what I need here. Oh, by the way, AV, this apparently I'm gonna have to check it out, but Aaron from Game Grumps apparently was involved in a series for Critical Role, so I'm gonna have to check that out later. It looks really funny. I've only seen clips from it so far, but because I've been listening to the Divergence storyline right now in Critical Role, and it's just so funny because there's like this, they keep doing things like, because it's like a time of like just crazy things are happening, and they're like, okay, today we got these celestial weapons, met unicorns, talked to a god, and they're like, no one's gonna believe us. Like this whole day is impossible. Anyone we talk to is going to think we're crazy. It's always nice seeing Matt Mercer get to play some D&D actually. Because he puts so much work into his sessions, so it's nice seeing, especially when it's Brennan Lee Mulligan doing the. He's the one narrating this, and he's another really great storyteller. Like their styles of DMing or GMing are a little different, but not so different that he's not someone who's like. He's not so egotistical that he wouldn't be like. He wouldn't just ask Matt, like, in your games, do you do it this way, or do you want me to make it like this because your games are like this? And he's like, no, do it your way. And it is funny also that since he's someone from the other side of the table, he's not afraid of failure at all. He kind of almost relishes in it. And I'm like, that's really fun having a character who's just like, well, I rolled a 1. Good luck, everyone. Whoopsies. We're all doomed. Plus, I love this new campaign because they have some Dragonborns who actually act like the kind of Dragonborn that I would love to play. I would probably want to play as. Although, like I showed you mine, my version are those two dudes. One of those two guys that I showed you. Where are they? They're... Oh, here they are. Yeah, these two guys. Yeah. One of these two. Like the fighter or the monk. Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably pick this fighter guy just because he's they're like dinosaur people, which I've never. They're really rare, I guess. So I'd have to make up a storyline for why they were there, but I could always just say they were like an explorer that came over to a different continent, pretty much. Or maybe they were like captured by pirates or something and then like escaped, and yeah. There's like a whole bunch of different storylines I could do with this character. But the monk looks really cool too. I really like his color scheme, and his like abilities are really cool. With like the fiery fists where his hands are turning into like molten, like the scales are just like emanating so much heat that they're like black. So like imagine getting hit like 6 times in a row by those fists. It's like it's like Luffy. Yeah, I'm really proud of that drawing. This one's really looking nice too, though. I love the color in this one. So let's save this one so I don't lose it, because I would be very sad if I lost that. How are we doing on time? Actually, you know what? I think I might color this one actually, because I love this page so much, and it's a fun one. Beep 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 beep. I might clean this up a little. So let's go back in here. Yeah, it's a little messy. He's a little messy. Clean up the line work, clean up the line work. Yeah. That'd be nice to just surprise. Surprise, doing a little comic. I felt like just popping in on this really quick. Maybe a little intermission in between drawings. Yeah, this page takes place later in the storyline, but since it's so vague, I don't feel worried about revealing it. So. This is like the first mention of another one of the characters from the storyline, which is his brother-in-law, which is the it's Solomon Cole, the necromancer. I was thinking Solomon's actually just a title. It's like kind of like a badge that you wear if you make it to a certain rank in the army, or even as like him in his case as an advisor. He was powerful enough that he was able to like retain that rank. Mainly because he found a way to use. He believed in using instead of using humans for in necromancy, he wanted to use ancient creatures, which turned out to be very useful. Because, you know, they're much tougher. Like having a sea battle and summoning an ancient plesiosaur. You're much more scary than a boat full of pirate sailors. Especially when the Unseelie have dragons. It's like, well, we have our version of dragons. They're called dinosaurs. But yeah, between him and his friend, which is Clay, they were a nasty duo because Clay can move Earth, which means he can essentially like kind of like Toph in a way. Like I wasn't sure how close to it was going to be, but I had it so he could like sense elements in the Earth, and sometimes he could find fossils that way. And then he would just pull them up for his friend, and his friend Cole, and then Cole could reanimate them. So it was just like a powerful tag team in that way, where like one he finds the beasts and pulls them up, and then his friend brings them back to life. Plus, you know, he's like a living rock slide, so. I always find it kind of interesting that even though DC has characters like that, like no one ever got to the level of like what Last Airbender did with Earthbenders. And the funny thing is, they only had a few times where they were actually lethal, and and yet they were still scarier than all of DC's like rock users, Earth movers, and that. Because I mean, like remember there was well, I mean, to be fair, there's a story where one woman almost does like destroy the world with her power. So they point out, they're like, yeah, they could cause serious trouble. They can make mountains. So the one that Oma, the one that they made for Omashu, like, yeah, she pretty much made like she like raised the countryside and like made it into those mountainous landscape it was. And they're like, okay, we give up. We're not gonna fight. And it's like, good. So I'm really curious with this new one where it's gonna be like a it's like crazy, like almost Horizon Zero Dawn kind of landscape where it's like the spirits have gone out of control. That's an interesting kind of situation, I think. It is silly. It's kind of weird that everyone's like, and even I think I talked about this. Even the creators rumored that Korra might have been involved in why the world's the way it is. But they might be messing with people too, because they're known. I wouldn't put that past them. Just be like, oh yeah, it's Korra's fault. Wink, wink. Sure. Why not? It's always been her fault in the past. Let's just pretend it is until we reveal what really is going on. I still remember when they were saying that people were leaking the episodes for Last Airbender, and they had to start changing the titles of the episodes because people were just figuring out the plot too quick. Like they wanted to name an episode like Zuko's Cool, but 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 obviously they couldn't do that because then like people would just figure out very quickly, like before the season even started, that like he had a turn. So I'm just full of spoilers today, aren't I? For shows from early 2000s. Even if you, I'd still say watch it even if this is a spoiler. It's such a good show. If you can, watch it with the commentary too. Like I love the commentary for Last Airbender. It's so great. And look for the there is a podcast for that as well. Whoops. Done by Janet Varney and Dante Bosco, and it is awesome. Like those two are just like the best. Like they just hearing those two talk is just so much fun. They're like both really funny people, and Janet Varney's a really funny improv comedian, and the voice of Korra. So. Even if she isn't at fault, it's going to be kind of cool that she gets to come back for the show because she's the only avatar that they can talk to. Which, that is a bigger spoiler. Sorry. I won't say why. I won't spoil why that she's the only avatar they can talk to. Honestly, it's one of the storylines from Korra that I didn't like, but it's not. It could have been better. Like season 2 was a bit of a disappointment in my opinion. And I blame Nickelodeon. I blame them for pretty much every season except for like the third season was pretty good, but even then I blame them because like they could have been more clear. I mean, they could have been more honest with their content and been like, this is clearly for young adults. We don't have to worry about censoring it. It's like, guys, this isn't the first time you've had young adult content on your channel. It's like, usually it was live action, but you've done this before, so why is it a big deal with it being animated? Just put that at the beginning and people will understand. I mean, the X-Men cartoon from the 90s was pretty mature. Although they did have to censor that a lot too. Like Wolverine didn't do nearly as much as he did in the comics. He just said bub a lot. Bub 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 bub. What's bub? Grub bub. But then again, that whole era was like, ugh, like the 4 Kids animation. Ugh. I don't want to go back. Don't send me back to the like those poor Yugi fans that had to watch that version. So sorry. But Joey Wheeler, the only Japanese guy from the Bronx, or from not the Bronx, from like with the where was he from? I forget what the voice actor what they were trying to do. It was a really weird accent for a guy from like a New Yorker kind of accent or something, and it's like, why is this guy here? What? I mean, it's funny, but I don't know why he talks this way when it's supposed to be Japan. That's a really weird Osaka accent you got there, buddy. It almost sounds like a New Yorker. What are you talking about? Bust your face in. Uh-huh. Sure. Or maybe like a Long Island accent. Maybe that's what it was. Strong Island. Doo, doo, doo. Steve. How are we doing? That's a good place to call it. It's been 2 hours and it's getting kind of late for a weekday. So, yeah, I'll be back on Friday and we can probably draw for a little bit longer. Like, hopefully twice the time again, like last week. That was really fun. So, yeah, and I'll probably bring back the comic again next week. I mean, next session, which will be Friday. So, hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week. And, yeah, thanks for everyone who dropped by.